Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. It's been a while since we've done a news episode. We kind of had our schedules get a little bit mixed up that we hope to be addressing that in the future. I keep saying I'm going to actually adjust the calendar, but I have yet to do so for all of us, but I will do that eventually. But we should be back on a more set schedule here, and going into next year we should be good. We've got pretty much things lined up for the end of the year, with maybe one exception of when we do our special end of the year episode, so folks be on the lookout for that one. Sometime probably just before the holiday is when that one will come out. But today we are doing our news roundup. We are recording literally at the last day of September, so we're well situated to talk about what was going on in September. And it's kind of was like it was both a wild and a slow month in a lot of ways. Like a lot of things just kind of gliding over my smooth brain, and just making me like, does it seem like Starfield came out, like 25 days ago or something like that? That basically Starfield launched a month ago. I feel like that came and went. And I mean, I got to say, I'm not seeing a lot of discourse about it. We will be contributing a little bit to the discourse when
I've seen plenty of discourse about it.
Is it still hot in the Reddit streets?
I'm saying like now, it's like what I still see now.
It's definitely trickled down, and it's much less than you would expect for such a big game that released a month ago.
I don't even
see Harry Potter was kicking up more stuff still. Month out.
I don't see it even as much of like the console warrior stuff so much anymore. If you're going to see stuff, that's what you're going to see.
Matt's going to pull up like 10 Reddit threads that are.
I guess it's probably. It's probably just because I'm not on Reddit.
There's countless Reddit threads every day still, because people,
okay.
People enter this point in the game where if someone dislikes it and you like it, you counter jerk their circle jerk, and it becomes this really just annoying cycle of jerking.
You create a whirlpool of jerking off.
Like when you get
currents going in both way in opposite directions, creates a fucking whirlpool.
Do you ever have a friend with an above ground pool and you ran around?
One of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. And then you see who can withstand the current. But so we'll contribute to the Starfield discourse. But before we really kind of jump into the news fully, I just wanted to kind of open the floor to everybody. What's new with all of you, both, anything new and exciting, both personal and or gaming related for each of you?
I got stranded yesterday in New York City.
Mike and I fought the rainiest day on record at JFK, so we were true warriors and returning to the homeland.
I wasn't prepared because I was living under a rock.
Mayor Adams.
So I didn't know about this storm.
He was out partying with celebrities before, rather than putting out storm warnings and shit.
Guess what? Guess what?
Everyone
he was with knew
the Elden Ring.
Yeah. If you didn't know, you were a nobody because you weren't there. So get fucked.
His birthday fundraiser the night before. So
his birthday was also a month ago, which I like. I like that twist to it.
but to Matt's point, which shard of the Elden Ring controls the weather, and so which one is Mayor Adams wielding currently? Which great rune?
I don't know if any of them directly control the weather.
So
he feels like he's got Moog's great rune. He feels like a Lord of Blood type of person to me.
Controlling the rats through blood magic.
Yes. That's what it is. For sure.
That's good. Creating an army.
Now, stay tuned for my 45-minute video essay deep dive on what Mayor Adams' other parts of his Elden Ring build would be.
Oh hell yeah!
Damn, we should do that.
Is he fat rolling like Elon?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
No, I feel like he's a light roller. He's got a light build. He's
Do you think
quick with
is
it.
He's
he
too shifty.
is he a
Yeah.
sicko quality build who's just running around in his underwear in a great club?
No, he has too much class for that. He loves to be dripped out, so he's gonna have some swaggy armor.
No, he's definitely a caster.
Yeah, for sure. He's not getting into the mix in some melee. Only when he needs to. When he needs to go like Super Saiyan and like whip it out.
Wow.
Whip it out.
All right, so surviving some of the footage from the flooding was pretty wild. Seeing all
The bus one that I
the
sent
buses,
was
there's a bunch of
Bus is
those.
hilarious.
Yeah.
and people
Nightmare
were like,
fuel.
why are they holding their feet up out of the water? They're just gonna have to put it down to walk out. It's like, man, do you know how fucking gross that water is? Like,
Yeah.
the amount of time that you keep your feet in that water, you're like exponential increase in like bacterial infection.
Yeah, you're gonna get MRSA.
That's like
Yeah,
it's
everyone
like
needs to
rat
go to like
water.
a foot reflexologist and get
Yeah.
some like Japanese pads put on your feet to
The funniest
toxins
funniest ones for me were seeing it like literally just coming out of the walls in
Yes,
subway
in the
stations.
subway.
Oh yeah.
Just
In
the
some of the
cracks
newer
in the
subway
wall.
stations that I was in yesterday, like I lucked out that I didn't get caught in any of the water or anything, but there are some
You feel like
stations.
you were in a movie? Do you feel like you were in like the day after tomorrow?
Damn, I left
Yeah,
a
man.
movie.
I mean, Grand Central was crazy at like fucking noon. It was absolutely packed. You couldn't walk. Tourists were out and about though. They nothing
Is
stops.
this New York?
Nothing
Is this
stops
what's
it. Nothing
normal?
stops a German tourist in
Yeah.
Times Square.
Yeah, German and Australian tourists in Times Square were out and about.
Australian? Did you just-
They're God's strongest warriors for sure.
Oh, for sure. They're his true chosen people.
Yeah. Anything gaming though before I go on a little soapbox here. I'm itching. I've got the brain rot.
I mean, I've
I just-
liberated the coral.
Hell
I
yeah.
just need more time in my life for gaming. I need to get through Final Fantasy 16. I need
You're
to
the
do
meme
Armored Core.
of-
I want to play Cyberpunk. Like God, I need to play Spider-Man, Luigi's Mansion. God damn. That's my
I mean,
yeah.
If you can like get like a weekend and kind of close yourself off, you can finish Luigi's Mansion for the pod really quick.
Yeah.
It takes a second to like figure out how to deal with the
It's a game designed for children.
Yeah, the doo-doo
Our
dog water
adult brains
controls.
should be perfect for this.
Yeah, and at
It's
that
literally
point,
the game loop is so easy to figure out, and once you get
It's all about
just
Guigi.
bing bang boom.
Yeah,
Yeah, Luigi is.
I told you like I probably did about like it was probably like 2 days of like game sessions, and I probably played more than maybe a normal day because I was trying to get through it. But I was like, it was over a weekend. It was basically I had put like a half hour in before, like when my nephew was here visiting. I thought it was a game that we could play, and then
Gave him horrible nightmares for the rest of his life.
It did
Horrors
spook him-
beyond his imagination.
it did spook him a little bit. But he soldiered through. Hell, the kid's first game was playing a couple levels of Doom, so he's I brought him up the same way that I was, so
Yeah.
he's doing fine.
Continuing tradition.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fine.
He should
no,
have been
then I
started
just-
on Tetris like a true.
But then I just did like 2 days of like decently dedicated
Grinding the Guigi.
sessions, and it was done. Because like I'm not doing like finding all gems and all that kind of
Yeah,
shit. Not doing
But
that.
Andrew's the meme of like work to get the PS5 to sit and watch it collect dust.
Yeah. Like get home from work.
Yeah.
Can't wait to play my game. Just passed out on the couch. Sleepy. You're
There's
almost
the one
you're
meme-
almost done with Final Fantasy.
No, I'm
right?
close. I'm close with Final
Yeah,
Fantasy.
you're literally on Origin has opened up. Like final main mission is available.
You're
So
at the
you
final
probably
Final
just have a
Fantasy.
couple of the
He
It's
has
like
the
the-
final side quest dump.
which are
Yep.
purely just like for your main characters, basically. It's
Yeah.
like you get one for Joshua, for Jill,
Yeah.
for
Doro.
Josh and Jill are characters. That's hilarious.
Joshua.
Hilarious combination.
Joshua.
Josh, Jill, Mid, Torgal.
Is mid.
No,
No,
she's
Mid
not.
she's
is
a great
fantastic.
character. She's an amazing person.
I wish she didn't have as high as moral standard. I want airship. But yeah, she's too wise.
DLC.
She's too wise for her years. But yeah, you just basically have like for like your main NPCs, the final bits of those quest lines.
Damn, they don't actually build the airship. Bullshit.
Oh.
Maybe they will. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe it was decision based.
As I
Yeah.
You might
as
be
I
able to
said,
pressure
maybe
her
the
because
DLC.
there are, I think, some dialogue options. I don't remember. I think so.
No.
I thought there were.
No. Not in
She
that.
probably just
remote-
gets mad. She probably just gets mad at you.
Yeah. That's fine.
No, we must build a nuclear warhead with this.
Mm-hmm.
But Clive, that doesn't make sense. Must bomb Origin.
Yeah, you mentioned it, but yeah, it's fitting also again for September news. You know, Cyberpunk is back in the zeitgeist officially with the release of Phantom Liberty and 2.0. I'm like over 20 hours in already. So it's like it's got its fucking hooks in me for sure. And I'm so glad I waited because even though I like the gunplay, you know me, like I don't like have anything necessarily against first person shooting. I tend to dislike first person melee, although I think the melee is pretty good here. It's decent. It's decent.
Like I feel like the inner weeb in me wouldn't be able to resist a katana and like the speed build.
I like the katana, and I'm focusing strictly on intelligence right now. Like I've fully maxed out stats for intelligence, but I'm working on perks for intelligence. But I will be then splitting between body and reflexes. You know, your strength and dex. I do want to unlock some of the katana abilities. Like the main one is like you got to unlock be able to deflect bullets with the katana. Like absolutely. Like who are we kidding?
I wish that it was just slicing the bullets in half because that would be
sick. And I'm happy with the build direction that I'm going. Like I'm doing.
You're liking the net runner?
Almost pure net runner, and it's one thing that I have no point of reference from the original launch. Even 1.5 you know, the major kind of, you know, update that, you know, made it playable but not like this like true overhaul.
The next gen update, right? The PS5 one.
Yeah, so I do remember seeing though a complaint. They're like, oh, hacking isn't a true option. That was a major complaint. They're saying like there was something lacking about its viability. That's totally not the case anymore. It's like everything, you know, so your hacks are based off of how much RAM you have, and like you do your skills that like based on doing all these actions or using these particular type of weapons or killing people with things will re-upload your RAM, and then you've got the overclock ability, which lets you ignore RAM and it takes your health instead. So you can just be fucking going and it all synergizes really well because you can then do things where you have like a cyberware that does this as well as again these other perks that you're taking health away, but then when you you know, eliminate an enemy, you get health back, and so you can keep the cycle going. And I when I was like talking to Andrew about it before, I was like, oh, there's like an element of the hacking that hadn't quite clicked for me yet. And it's kind of like how it incorporates into stealth. And so it's most applicable in things like your gig jobs, where it's like go to place and get thing, do this, steal this, kill this guy, whatever. But it's usually it's your equivalent of like a bandit hideout type of thing. You're going to find enemies there and you've got to infiltrate it in some way, just go all out and attack someone. But it's the best setup for this really kind of cool way to do hacking because they'll have cameras everywhere. And so as I figured out the method of how you you can just basically you crouch outside before you've alerted anybody. You ping the camera so you see where everybody is. Then you take control of the camera and you can cycle through the rest of the cameras throughout the whole thing, and you can hack through the camera. So it's like you go and you look at the camera, you see the people, first you hit overdrive or overclock, so you can do as much hacking as you want. You go through one camera view, hack these bunch of dudes, cycle to the next one, hack them, continue, and you come out of it and they all just drop dead.
Just kill all of them.
And it's very satisfying. And I described it as like it's got this kind of hacking has this Mass Effect feel to it. Because it kind of like slows down time. You're picking your abilities, you're doing combos that way. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I do have the urge to also try out like a Sandevistan build as well. A Sandevistan melee build that you can just slow time and assassinate everybody while they can't react. I've seen a few cool videos.
Play as the character from Edge Runners, whatever his name is.
I think it's Daniel? David Martinez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing more of a melee build. I like getting up close.
So I still got some things that I'm experimenting with, but it's got its hooks in me for sure. All right, so I could talk about that for a lot more. So I will pull it back in, and we'll actually get to the news of the day. We had a bunch of topics that we kind of picked out, and we'll see if we can get to them all. I know this one is not like a major one, and I apologize to Mike ahead of time, being the non-Sony gamer, that the direct topic doesn't apply to you.
Sony ponies.
But the larger issue at hand, I think you'll have some comments on. And as a former Game Pass subscriber, you don't currently subscribe to Game Pass at the moment.
I have it right now.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Like on and off. Yeah.
All right. So
planning on playing Life of Pi.
Okay. So that'll be an interesting part of the discussion.
Did you say Life of Pi?
Yeah, it's funny to call Lies of P Life of.
I unironically that's just what I thought it was called.
No,
Life of Pi.
Yeah, it's Lies of P. Yeah, but I like it's funny to call it Life of Pi.
Is that the episode title? Life of Pi.
Yeah.
Which is also a relevant topic that dropped this month, and
yeah,
I have finished my playthrough of that and enjoyed it. But so it's about subscriptions, and like the major jumping off point is in my opinion, ridiculous price increase of PS Plus, and every single tier is seeing an increase. As we all
it's
by
not
now,
the same percentage increase for the 3 tiers either.
No, it's not. So the most expensive one gets the biggest fucking hit. It's like it gets to the point of it's like a 30% increase, I think, somewhere at some level, which is kind of outrageous. But so essential tier, which is basically just your cloud saves, online multiplayer,
and the monthly games.
Okay, but you don't have access to the catalogs.
Yeah, you don't get the subscription. You just get whatever the games of the month are.
Okay. So that went from $60 a year to $80 a year. So $20 increase there. Extra, which is all these tiers obviously have everything that the lower tier had, but then something else. So Extra has the game catalog one, which is this is the most akin to your kind of regular Game Pass idea.
Yeah, it's the modern game catalog.
Yeah, it's your mostly last generation. It's mostly PS4 games, but there are PS5 games that get thrown in there as well, or PS5 versions.
Because like what's it called? The bucket. Shit. Yeah, completely blanking on the name of it all of a sudden. It's the studio who did it was their first game. It was PS5 and it was on extra on launch.
Well, I know Stray was like one of the first like day and date.
Yeah, but it wasn't Stray. It was before that. It was the one she has a staff, the little black dudes, the little black blob dudes.
Ken and Bridges Spirits. Ken and Bridges
There we
Spirits.
go. I kept all that I could think of
The
was
little
Legend of
black
Korra,
dudes.
and I knew that was wrong.
Close though. The titles are similar. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're like, yeah, they're these cute little weird spirit things, but yeah, they're these little kind of black blobs.
Yeah, and that was also on extra on launch.
I own that.
Yeah, it's a good game. I enjoyed it.
I know everybody says it's good, so I have yet to get to it.
It's not super deep, like
yeah, that's a big reason why I want to play is that it's not very long either.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there have been some good ones, and that's part of the discussion, I think, as well is the release, not schedule, but like the release strategy that differentiates PS Plus and something like Game Pass. But before we get to that, though, I just want to say Premium got the biggest hit, or I didn't actually give the price. Extra, which has that game catalog, went from $100 a year to $135, and then Premium, which again is everything mentioned already, plus the
classic catalog.
the classics catalog. So it's
The
PS1,
PS2,
PSP, and
cloud streaming for PS3.
I say which one. Say is PS3 streaming exclusive to Premium?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right.
So that went from 120 to 160. I will say still cheaper than a year's worth of subscription to Game Pass Ultimate. Because it's one thing.
And I mean the one service who comes out king, and we derided them. We were giving them shit this past Tuesday for the horrible connections.
It works. It works terribly. But
yes, no, like, but I do. You have to say, you know,
it's cheap
as an individual price. It's $60 a year for the ultimate version of Nintendo's online.
And it's cheap because we do it as we do a family plan.
And
so
it's $80 for up to 6 people, which makes it even
So we
significantly more cheap.
We definitely utilize that. But so I wanted to like just kind of open this discussion to, we can start off with, for those of us who are subscribers, because I think for the three of us who have PlayStations, we are all currently premium subscribers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I try to give them much money as I can.
They need my support. They need my financial support all the time.
You have to also remember that last year when they launched it, they did that thing where if you were already doing the basic tier on the old thing, you got it was much cheaper to do the upgrade initially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or it was a better deal. It obviously wasn't cheaper, but it was a better deal. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
At
this price.
So yeah, if you cut out there for a second, Andrew, but is it doing it again? Uh-oh.
Yeah. This will be great. I'll have so much fun.
A lot of interesting stuff for Matt to edit. We love it. But yeah, so if I wasn't already locked in for a year plus, because remember in the summer there was like they had like a discount, just like
because they probably did a summer sale, and
so like I'm paying less than this now, less than the original price, less than the original price. But like when that goes up, and if they have, basically my point is, and I wanted to open it up to you guys, is do we think they're doing enough to justify that price to stay at premium? I'm not going to cancel I'm not going to cancel just flat out, because I do utilize things like cloud save and stuff like that. I find sometimes really as of late, the monthly games have been hit or miss. But I think like unless they like do a real lot to justify things with like a really expansive effort to increase that classic catalog, that I'm at the very least going to go down to extra, which is still now more than I was paying for premium.
Yeah,
is the thing.
$10 more.
That's still an increase of $15 more.
Oh yeah, 35. Sorry.
but but at least that's over a year, so that's not huge. That's not a huge difference. But like, I don't play as of right now. I don't play enough of the classic games like that. I'm like kind of thinking I should switch anyways. But where do we think the value is? And how does it compare to some of these others?
No, if I hadn't done the same thing, paid through like the next year and a half, I would be probably at least downgrading the level, if not base, because it's just I don't think they have the offering that Microsoft has, and we've said that from the get-go. But if I don't want them to, I honestly don't want them to do day one, but if they did like a new games come out a quarter later, like that would make it worthwhile to me.
I agree with their strategy, right? That like putting games out day and date like is kind of value destructive to them.
Yes, yes, it really is,
and does not help developers, whether first or third party, in the long run, and does not help with the longevity of the game cycle. But at the same time, it's I've come to the realization, it's like, yeah, that extra bit that I'm paying for something that I'm not really using, like I'm not, because it's like the games that I want to play that maybe yes eventually do come to PS Plus, like Horizon Forbidden West is on PlayStation Plus now. God of War Ragnarok will probably come to PlayStation Plus. We know God of War, 2018 was, but like that's so late that I bought those games already, and so it's the realization is if I'm downgrading, you save that money, can go towards another game. Can just go towards a game that I want to play at the time. So I think that this is not going to end well for them. I think that their numbers are going to see a significant drop because of it. But maybe it's just like they see more longevity. They see more longevity and we're like extra.
The percent that we lose from certain tiers, or like that downgrade a tier, will still be made up by the percent who stay and the extra increase they pay over the span. So like you said, you're going to downgrade a tier. You're still paying more than you were last time.
Exactly.
So like they're probably looking at their,
because they're probably also, they have numbers that show that the majority of people are not subscribing to premium. Right. It's gonna then potentially probably drive more people to extra.
Like, I'm probably gonna stick with premium for one more year, but that's just because I'm building out my own personal PS1 library. I'm gonna try to like gain access to the games that I want from that era and like the PS2 catalog as well, and then just have them myself rather than have to go through a subscription service to access them.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, like, for a lot of gamers, the base package is almost a necessity at this point. Right. So
yeah, because like the online and the cloud saves, like cloud saves by themselves, that's probably, like, if you want to look into it, that's probably the single most predatory aspect of what they're holding you hostage by.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like holding your memories, basically.
Yeah.
Your gaming soul is dependent.
It's important because that's the thing. So like that's one of the things that the Steam Deck does so well, because it's just a computer, and because you got those Steam saves, you can just go back and forth between your computers, your Steam Deck, and your if you have a desktop or a laptop or something like that, it's a little more powerful. But you can seamlessly transfer back and forth there without having to, you don't have to pay anything for that. Whereas, say you have a regular Nintendo Switch, then you got the kiddos a Switch Lite, and they want to be able to access, Mario Odyssey or something like that. You're saved from Mario Odyssey. Like, you got to pay Nintendo Online for that, because they got to be able to, that's the only way you can transfer those cloud saves wirelessly.
But like, I don't like, ultimately it's going to be it's a good business decision. They know that, like, they know they're going to make more money. But as the consumers right now, this is a little bit of a shafting, and like they don't.
Oh yeah, no, it's happening across the subscription services right now. Every single one of them
Yeah.
has found new ways to squeeze every last drop of the orange. And right now we're just the dry pulp clinging to the rind, hoping to survive another squeezing.
Squeeze me, daddy.
And so it's like, so as Mike was like saying before, like that he is currently subscribing to Game Pass. There's the idea of, oh, you pick it up and put it down when you want it. That only becomes kind of viable with the kind of the day and date strategy, right? In that you see a game that that you're going to want to play, you subscribe for this month and you play it, and then you're done, you unsubscribe. Whereas that's not really doable with PlayStation right now. It's more about access to this catalog. And I think how it works, you could correct me if I'm wrong, is that I have through the catalog claimed a bunch of games. I don't have them installed yet, but say like what would happen if I unsubscribe from PS Plus? Do I lose access to all those that I have added to my library?
Yes.
Right. So it's like you never own these games. I mean, not like you do with Xbox.
It's the same way with Game Pass. If you download a game off Game Pass and unsubscribe, you lose the.
Well, the one thing about Game Pass, though, especially if you're doing it on a desktop, if you unsubscribe, the game is still installed. You can't, unless you uninstall it. It doesn't,
But does the license work?
No, the license doesn't work. But you don't lose your progress in it. So if 2 months down the line I decide to re-up Game Pass for a new game that got launched, but I want to go back and play some more Lives of P, then I could Lives of Pi. Then I could.
It changed.
I could play a little bit and pick up where I left off. It's not, it is in a sense, having to pay for like that cloud storage, but it's not actually on the cloud. Like you have that
because that save is on your device. That's a hardware.
So
pretty sure that's how the PS Plus games are downloaded work. So if you played one of the games that's downloaded, the progress is there.
It would be unless you delete it to free up space, and then
it's gone.
That would be the same way on desktop then. If you delete the file, there's no.
Yeah.
But
I guess I was trying to advocate for Microsoft. I had to be the devil's advocate in the now streaming wars between the two giants. And obviously Microsoft is better. It's an American company. We hate the Sony ponies. You guys are just bootlickers to this foreign country or foreign company.
Buy American.
Yeah, I'm an American. We support
and
American
like the
companies.
true American experience, you buy in hoping that you get something that you've been promised and never get it.
Yeah, correct. That's the only way to experience America. That that this is the way.
Since we have fully enlisted in the the console armies at this point,
Commander kind of Jim Ryan.
It's a good transition for Andrew's story.
No, I thought that
I love seeing all like the people. I love seeing all like the people being like, Sony ponies are so sad that their hero Jim Ryan is retiring, and then you see like the actual like Sony sickos online. They are still posting funny memes about like don't care, it's like don't care, God of War go burr, like like playing good games, like don't care, like because they at least understand that these CEOs are not their friends. They're Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer are not their divorced daddies.
No.
Also, like Jim Ryan's I think 64 or something like that. Like, yeah, fuck off, retire. Like you're at that point.
And every like Sony fan is just like, yeah, he's made very bad decisions, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The success of
good
Sony is
riddance.
almost in spite of him. Like
Yeah. It's like good riddance. So yeah, hit us with it, Andrew.
yeah, so big news. Jim Ryan is retiring. We got this what is announced like 2 days ago, I think.
It's recent.
Maybe
It's
It was
recent.
Tuesday.
yeah.
It's
I
recent.
think it
in
was
the
a
time of recording.
Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday.
Really
in
recent.
It, yeah.
Yeah. No, Wednesday. Wednesday. Apologies.
Oh,
So Wednesday, September 27th, and my man's stepping down. He's sailing off into the sunset after making lots of money and making
What was it? 30 years as a Sony
30,
executive.
30 years. Yep, at Sony. He's being replaced, and this is really what I am most interested about because like I don't care about Jim Ryan. Like he's fine. He's in my opinion better than Phil, but he's still a CEO and he sucks. And he's replacing he's being replaced by Hiroki Totoki. Hope I'm saying that right. Probably not. But
I was just hoping it wasn't a
assume
woman.
no.
Assume no. And
Just letting that comment by Mike slide.
Yeah.
That's not how Japan works.
Yeah. This is a real society.
Yeah.
He's a veteran of Sony. He's actually their vice chairman of the entire company. So my man's taken on a second role that he's really kind of filling as the interim, and they're probably going to hire someone else to take this on as their only, a little bit down the line. But he comes from the financial side of the house and was the CFO. And I gotta say,
I like the house lingo.
it makes me a little scared because he's been quoted as saying he's obsessed with growth and other bullshit like that.
Aren't we all?
So, at least Jim Ryan did seem to have some grasp of the negatives for lots of stakeholders of the streaming platforms, and I'm scared.
He seemed to, at the very least, show some lip service to caring about the health of the industry.
Yes.
Less than just, predatory capitalist, profit expansion, line go up, exponential growth, right? That kind of talk is worrying because that's going to be like, oh yes, we're still obsessed with Web3. We love
yeah, exactly.
We love live service microtransactions. We're gonna pump out.
Bring back the
NFTs.
NFTs.
Speaking of live service microtransactions, Foamstar started its beta today.
Oh,
I wonder what people are going to say about players are going to say about that because at this point it's only been journalists who have been like, oh yeah, it's Foam Stars, it's surprisingly fun. But we know that Sony's going all in
Splatoon.
But Sony's going all in on live service. That's their strategy going forward. So I don't see this guy changing that in any way. Because they're all about searching for short-term profit, right? Short-term gain.
Yep.
It's nothing long picture, So they will willfully ignore the fact that pretty much live service games just fail. 9 out of 10 fail. I was like, you're the luck to stumble upon that 1 out of 10 that is a hit is smaller than actually 10%. It's I don't know. I didn't know that stuff about this guy, so that's concerning. But
yeah. No, when I saw the news, I immediately was like, okay, who's replacing Jim and how aggressive are they going to want to replicate the bullshit that Xbox is doing and just start extracting as much revenue as they can without, at least like you said, some of the whether it's real or not, tact of trying to not just destroy the industry that Jim would take.
How long do you think he will be in this position before they hire someone new.
At least 6 months. At least 6 months to a year.
I don't see it going over a year. Usually you don't try to have an interim in a position for that long, and unless you straight up promote him to full time.
Right.
I know that, they're obviously focused on like short-term gains, but, I wonder how much of an effect he will have on the company in that time that he's probably not, that he's not already having as like in his board position.
What's a good? There's a good point, because there is institutional inertia. That is a no singular person, even an executive, can exert that much power.
And I'm sure the new person that gets hired in the position, if this guy was that person that was going to be hired, I may be worried more, because then you have the ability to change the course of that inertia, over time a bit. But if you are just filling the role for 6 months to a year, well, yeah, some little things might change, but
you're there more just to keep things in the direction they were going until the next person can
keep
step in.
Keep the wheels turning.
And I'm sure where he can will, put his little nefarious mark of, line go brr. But like he can't be as disruptive, I'm sure, as he wants to be, or beyond what he already is in his board position.
There's the reality as well.
Go ahead.
All I was gonna say is that there's the reality that PlayStation is like Sony's cash cow.
Yeah,
that's
what I was gonna speak
billions.
to. That's what I was gonna speak to. Is this guy?
Did you say more billions?
More billions. That's where their cash cow is.
More billions.
Yes, that is like, if we're not being ironic about it, it's like, they're not making money off their movie studios and shit. They're not making money off their laptops, off their phones, off of shit like that anymore.
Well, they probably made a little bit of money.
It is PlayStation and
the two Spider-Man, the three Spider-Man,
and the financial
movies.
sector, sector.
Yeah, but those got butchered up with Disney too. So
they're not making as much as they could be.
Hey man, Sony's still the one who owns the Spider-Man license.
This is true.
So,
but that's to keep them alive.
But that's what it'll depend. That's kind of what it depends on, from my opinion. Is like, is the Sony board, because that, like, really, like, this guy's not going to. They're never going to make him the full time, because that would be a demotion, actually, from his current role. So
they're going to want someone who has is a more Western faced person for that role.
They need a white guy.
That's not necessarily what I was saying. I was more saying speaks English.
But it really, I think it depends on what
someone
Sony's
with wider eyes.
Okay.
Wow.
What Sony's
they need a Silicon Valley sicko.
Yeah.
Because I had read something about like what Jim Ryan's like monthly breakdown was supposed to be, and it was supposed to be like a week every month in Japan with leadership, and then the rest of the time internationally.
Yeah, but it all depends. If Sony's board wants to continue to focus on PlayStation and like cares less and less about their other business lines, then they're going to be more,
which we know because we've
extreme.
We've seen them say they were liquidating some of their financial assets to bolster their gaming and entertainment sector.
Yeah. Speaking of liquidating assets, that's a decent transition to our next story.
Hell yeah.
Liquidating the SAG-AFTRA people.
No, I mean, yes, they will literally turn them into liquid, into jelly
if they got the chance
to feed the AI brain, to create like the neuroplastic gel to feed the AI supercomputer. But no, I was referring to the wave of layoffs and liquidations that we're seeing across the rest of the gaming industry. Man, I know you had some stuff for us there.
I mean, it's pretty significant. Both Embracer and Epic have laid off a fairly substantial portion of their employees. On top of, I mean, there's been multiple layoffs throughout the year, but these are the two
Ubisoft
most.
Ubisoft did too. Did you see? I sent that last night. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It is that time of year, I guess, where they are just going to start prolifically cutting costs by removing employees.
Yeah. That's margin, that's profit margin they were giving up. So they're doing the right thing and returning it to shareholders.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, somebody broke down the Epic stuff. They're like, oh, Epic has been going at like 20% profit for the last few years, and they did the math of like what that would cut into to pay the people that they laid off, and they'd still be so far in the black. It's laughable. Yeah. So just to say that, oh, this makes us a leaner, more effective outfit, like our spending is not, sustainable, is, again, I'm for listeners at home, I'm doing the jack off motion. I'm gonna see if I can find that. Like actual a launcher breakdown.
Based on giving people games for free that don't need to engage with your launcher otherwise would not be a super profitable experience. And like, yeah, they have fucking Unreal Engine and they own Forklift, which is just a perpetual money making endeavor because it's a babysitting service at this point.
They mentioned Forklift in their statement.
Yeah.
I forget. I'm gonna pull it up, see exactly what they said. They said we're trying to turn Fortnite starting to grow again. We're trying to turn it into a metaverse inspired ecosystem for creators. And it's saying how it is very funny how they're saying the growth there is driven primarily by creator content, not anything they're doing. It's all about revenue sharing.
Yep.
It's like that, the creators, actual
baby
individuals are making, we're not creative. We're just the platform holder. It's your favorite topic, Mike. It's platform economy. Come back to strike again.
It's even funnier because if you look at Epic, Fortnite is the big headliner for them, but Fall Guys was something that worked pretty well for them for a decent chunk of time.
It's been a success. It's absolutely been a success. It's it's transitioned to free to play. It was one of the few transitions to free to play that has been successful. It's making money and people still play it.
Too bad, because the developers at Mediatonic were one of the ones who were decimated the worst by the
Yeah.
So they got fucked. I mean, what does that even say?
It's a self-sustaining machine at this point. We don't need you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like, as a worker, that's one of those things that you sit there and you're like, oh wow, like we make something successful for you, and you reward us by saying, "Ha, thanks, sucker, get out of here."
Well, with Forklift, like, to relate it to my story of the SAG-AFTRA voice actors authorizing a strike. As far as I know, they haven't gone on strike yet, but Forklift,
it was just the authorization. It was just the authorization.
Forklift, you don't need any voice actors. You don't need any actors at all. It could just
you just need to steal people's dance animations and not pay them any royalties for it. Great business sense, can't question that.
Who would have thought that the company whose business model is giving away games for free to get people to come over to a platform
to pay with transactions.
It kind of works a little bit. I think I have a game. Well, I've got a couple, I guess, that I think I have that Ghost game that we haven't played in a little while.
Yeah,
it's the one thing I currently have installed from Epic on my PC.
But I mean, it's not just Epic who had, the other half of the coin is Embracer.
Oh my god.
And Embracer's the company who we spoke of last year, when they were snapping up companies left and right, as like the Grim Reaper of game development studios.
It truly is the Grim Reaper now, because they're fucking. They're still like, oh yeah, Crystal Dynamics, the Tomb Raider people.
Yeah,
like no, they're fine. They're fine. We're not going to touch them. Nope.
Can we see them? No.
We need proof of life. We need proof of life.
Current newspaper in photo.
Please.
Show Laura Croft. Yeah, show Laura Croft holding up this week's New York Times.
Yeah.
Do it.
And they had already gone on record, right before these layoffs had come out. It was almost, trying to spin zone, as best they can, where they had talked about they were spending more on platform fees, again, platform economy, than they were on game development. Trying to
super sustainable.
That is, as a preemptive way of talking about, we're about to lay off. What were they? Were they 16% of their staff?
It was a bigger
platform
number.
fees account
Epic
for?
was like
16. Epic was 16% of their staff.
Yeah.
Which is a huge layoff, mind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a small company.
Yeah. I think 16% ended up being 900 people from Epic.
Oh my God.
And once a layoff like that happens, where the bottom 16% of the company gets swiped out, the people who are now the bottom 16% of the company are starting to look around like, when's our culling gonna be? When are they going to come out and say, oh, like your work on Unreal Engine 5 has been great. We have an AI now that we've trained and adapted off of your coding techniques. And you can leave.
We could either let you go or melt you down into the goo that runs the computer.
Serves as lubricant for the supercomputer.
Yeah, your choice.
Yeah. Either way, you'll still be contributing to
the
overall profitability. Yeah. Get in the pod, eat the bug, or become the bug. That's those are your two choices.
What does it say you do here?
But still speaking of this is a bit of a tangent, but it falls under the the ever growing and now retreating arm of Embracer, as owned by the Aspire studio, owned by Saber, which is owned by Embracer. Like, what the fuck do we think is going on with the KOTOR remake? Is that game dead? Is it canceled? And they just there's a whole bunch of rights fuckery going around, and nobody can actually confirm that it's dead.
I think it's so far rebooted that it's easier to not talk about it because it could just be dead in a couple more years.
Right. Well, last thing I remember hearing
I think the music license discussion can be a valid argument because we've seen music licenses be the reason for many trailer removals from the internet.
But why the tweets? But why the tweets with no music in it? Why the tweets with no footage? Like that's what's really scary to me. But like, so we know that
what's the tea on this? I'm not caught up on it.
KOTOR remake was announced in a Sony State of Play or
probably one of the first
showcase
ones for the PS5.
Yeah.
So I remember that a while ago.
It was shown, it was like fucking, you just see Revan's face and or his mask, and that's it. But it was being done by this, no real hate to them, but like kind of rinky dink outfit, Aspire.
You can say amateur, it's okay.
Who are most known for doing ports. They just did the ports for the original KOTOR games. They brought those to Switch, who are now currently embroiled in a class action lawsuit because they claimed that KOTOR 2 was going to have or include what was the original mod for
finish the DLC that was
restored content. It was the restore content mod. And they're like, oh yeah, the game is actually going to be finished and it's not going to be broken. And then they marketed all that, they sold it, and then it came out and they're like, oh yeah, actually we're not going to do that. So they're getting sued now for that.
I think the sad part there is I think the people in the lawsuit are correct, but I don't think they can win. So I don't think they can prove injury on the fact.
Well, I mean, injury is like could be very broad, and it doesn't.
I feel like they're going to have a very difficult time proving the injury aspect to win that part of the argument.
Well, but there's also like courts sit in equity as well, so they could, if it's like the injury could be kind of like inequity, like you're injured in the fact that you were promised something that was not given to you, and you relied on that fact, and it is a tougher thing to like probably grasp, like what the injury is here, and it is like odd because it's like the missed out fun
Yeah, because
essentially
like you
of
still have the game. You just don't have the additional part that was promised on top of that.
yeah, but again, like your
Because
injury
there's
is the
another
missed out
lawsuit.
fun that you relied on, you bought this game because you thought you were going to get this extra fun, this extra dopamine bump, and
Yeah,
you were you wouldn't have bought it otherwise, is essentially like the argument
because
that
there's
they're
another
making.
lawsuit going on currently from people who bought the Cyberpunk limited edition Xbox One X, which came was supposed to come with the DLC and then didn't.
Mm.
And then,
Same injury, you know. You relied on and
Yeah,
bought it on
but
the
in
fact that you
that
can
case,
have
yeah,
that.
it's paid DLC as well.
yeah, because this, yeah, it's a little different.
But so
Yeah.
back to
Slightly.
just explaining what it was, is Aspire was then this kind of basically amateur rinky dink outfit. They were given the project of remaking, and we're not talking about like
Or anything.
a remaster or something like that, or
No, this is a full Final Fantasy VII remake style.
ground up remake of KOTOR, the original KOTOR for PS5. At least if it was exclusive, it would probably be timed, but
it would come to PC that would be the probable.
So it was, so back, this is a while ago now, they had like a vertical slice of it, and it was like, nope, this is so bad, this is terrible, like this is awful, go back to the drawing board. But then it basically got taken away.
It was like
from
a week
them.
later after the like go back to the drawing board. It was like nope, going somewhere else.
Well, it's because they had creative directors leave and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah. It got taken away from them and given to Saber. I thought we knew that already, but yet Aspire is still part of this conversation. But it was given to Saber, and that was the last thing we've heard of it. And then we've now got these removals of
the trailers and announcement promotional stuff was removed recently.
My thing is, maybe it's like, it's like Saber's still working on Space Marine 2. So, and like that's definitely got to be their focus. So like if they had people working on it, it was like, we're back to the drawing board. This is back to pre-production. We've got a small core team working on bringing it up. Like that was, they had.
I view it very similar to the reboot of Metroid Prime 4 that happened developmentally, except this one happened a little earlier in its lifespan,
which is good. That's good.
Yeah,
you want that to happen sooner than later.
Yeah, because that was the problem with the Metroid Prime 4 one. Was I think it was 2020 when it was like, we're starting over, because boy, that was not good.
Yeah. From that,
which has definitely put Metroid Prime 4 more into the next console launch now instead of the Switch life cycle, which will always be a meme of the first Nintendo Direct after the Switch launched, with Metroid Prime 4 as one of the key trailers.
Which titles?
And by trailer, I mean a title
card. Yeah. We love those trailers. That's what the KOTOR one was.
And that seems more like a business decision of we're scrapping what Aspire did. Saber has a new vision. We need everything to align, more than like a rights thing, because
I feel like at some
Aspire
point someone was like, wait, you gave it to Aspire? We need to see what they're doing right now. And like looking at their development, like, okay, we are
Disney playing fast and loose with their licensing. But similar, like, Saber already had this license deal for Space Marine 2, so that's much further down the pipeline. Oh, I'm so excited! I can't wait. I can't wait to play that.
Do we have a date for that yet?
No, so that's definitely coming next year. It's still, everything will say still 2023, but I don't think that's possible.
My favorite launch timings are the TBD dates.
Yeah, I don't think that's coming. Which will be good because we're getting Owlcat Studios Rogue Trader at start of December, so don't need warring Warhammer IP going at the same time. So I'm happy to see it pushed a little bit.
Hey, but all that IP may be pushed back if there is a voice actor strike. As we said, earlier, we had the authorization 98.32%.
Not every company is being targeted right now, but
it's 10. It's Activision, Blindlight, Disney, EA, Epic.
A lot of the big ones.
Interactive.
A lot of the big ones.
Good.
But I think the effects of a gaming strike would be more felt later than sooner.
Yes.
Yeah. Because of the development times.
Those are pretty much done. That work's pretty much done. It's more like they may cut it because promotional stuff can't be done.
Yeah.
They're not going to cross the picket line for promoting these things. But I did see funny memes of like the soul leaving my body as like the solidarity leaving me when Spider-Man 2
affects my hobby.
No, it's when Spider-Man 2 gets delayed. But
that wouldn't get delayed.
But no, we stand in solidarity with all workers and all levels. So if they decide to go on strike, we should all be supporting them. Right now
they're stop playing video games and start reading books like real.
But it's why unions are good, because it's part of their bargaining process right now. This is leverage that they hold now, and because their contract negotiations are currently ongoing.
So they because they haven't struck yet. Which, by the way, think it's weird that it's struck and not striked. But
I feel like I would just say they haven't gone on strike yet.
That clears it up. That clears it up.
Yeah. But so I hate when people say struck. I'm upset with myself for saying struck. They have not gone on strike yet. And
I struck myself repeatedly this morning in the shower.
change the U to an O and add an E somewhere in there, and you're not too far off. I'm in the stripped club, straight up jorking it, and by it I mean my peanuts.
Oh, so their old contract is still in effect. Production is still going on. Like it's status quo until they go on strike, and then that's when things would be affected. Promotional material, new production on voice acting. That's why Pokemon is based. No voice acting. They'll never have to stop their production for this. They're smart. They're thinking ahead.
I mean, they need to pay somebody to make Link's grunts.
No, they literally just go out in the street and they walk up to a random person, they black bag them, bring them back, and the torture sounds are what you're getting as the
yeah. But so one thing that I really want to say about the worker movement in general that I had been thinking of recently, and I'd mentioned to Andrew yesterday. One thing that should at least be the next step, or I hope is on the mind of the organizers, is the effect on consumers, and that effect being used as leverage to pit people against unionization. So, we talked about, Ben, you said that Epic or Embracer, one of them had like a 20% profit margin. If they had paid these workers, it still is going to be, a double digit.
You're talking,
probably
15% rather than 20.
But we know that executives are not going to want to take a pay cut in their bonuses or whatever. We need to see shareholder value go up. So who gets hit in that process? You got to find the money somewhere. They're not going to
To be fair, I don't think anyone wants to take a pay cut.
Well, yeah, psychologically, sure. But when your pay cut is, 80 billion to 79 billion.
I was just more making the joke of like, you're like, the billionaire doesn't want to take a pay cut. And I'm like, I also don't want to take a pay cut. I like my.
Well, but the point is, you as the worker are not taking a pay cut. We're giving you a pay bump under these union contracts. The UPS workers are getting paid, up to 170K a year. Who gets who are we going to have to extract?
Who gets saddled with that extra bit? It's the consumer.
Exactly.
Yeah, not
it's
the CEO.
Consumer.
Yeah.
So one of the things, and it is talked about in the worker movement at times, but I don't know if it's something that is on the minds of people, in
it's
these movements.
It's going to go along to reinforcing the argument of like the fucking Capcom executive who's like, game prices are
$100 for games.
Yeah, games are too cheap.
Well, exactly. So games are going to go up. Prices for shipping and UPS will go up. The price of cars are going to go up. And it'll be used in the media to say it's because these workers are asking for more money. It's because the union contracts.
It's the next
raises.
sphere. It's instead of retail theft being the problem, it'll be these pesky fucking unions are fucking up your prices.
Exactly. And so I really think that in part of these negotiations and taking a holistic approach, because these workers are also consumers. You are both in this capitalist society, that there needs to be at least an eye or the thought to regulating prices of the product being produced by the worker within those contracts. That it due to the increase in worker pay, price of games or price of streaming services or whatever,
end product cannot
cannot increase more than X% over the life of this contract. And then my lawyer brain wanting to negotiate the other side as well, like what they would think is like, okay, so then the give is, if the rate of inflation reaches X%, then you're allowed to go above the standard rate or something like that.
Who is the deciding factor of these prices? It's like, who determines when or how great inflation is? Like, is it an actual responsive system, or is it just at the whims of price setters?
Well, and sure, and like that's something you'll just have to live with.
Because it's exceptionally convenient for them.
Yeah, exactly. But and it is also in the workers' interest, because it is also a way of taking ownership of that product and taking some more power from the managerial class of being able to say, no, that we're producing this, we want to provide this, whether it's actors, like this entertainment, voice actors, again, entertainment, what this is our craft, our art. We don't want to exploit consumers as well. So bringing back that power to the workers' side of being able to say, no, we want some say in the the regulation of the prices, and if it can't be a full on like negotiating the prices in that process, at least putting benchmarks and like caps at what could be raised, again, to take power back from yourself.
Sounds like you're trying to plan the economy, Mike. I don't know.
Yeah. No, but and it's just helpful to the movement, because we know that is going to be the media's line, that they are going to, once prices go up, and whether they're little pernicious increases, like Hulu goes up to goes up $1 or something, as a way to make up the costs for the new contract.
Fucking like Amazon introducing the ad option, but you have to spend $3 extra per month on top of whatever you're already paying for Prime to skip those ads.
And it may not. The real part that tells you that one's shitty is the fact they don't offer a once a year version where you just pay a year like you would for regular Prime.
But
save like a couple bucks.
It may not be right away, because the increases in prices to the consumer may not be as visible in the the short term.
Yeah.
But especially if the labor movement continues to gain momentum like this, that's a weapon that they've used before, and the media will use again. The media and the ruling class to pit consumers and workers against these workers. And again, you always have to think in the American economy. Not only are you a worker and a laborer, but you are a consumer. So you're getting hit on both ends, and so you need to, you as the worker should also be having that eye to the consumer and the maintaining or gaining back some of that power to say what the price of your end product is.
Yeah, I mean that's why there should be employee ownership, worker ownership should be the end goal, because you're not existing for just, again, pure profit motive extraction, but for longevity of a regulated market for because it is I like how you phrase it as this holistic approach. It's understanding that you exist as this kind of complex operative in the economy. You are producing, but you are consuming as well. Whereas, the capitalist class, they don't do anything. They don't produce. They don't produce value. They don't do anything.
And their consumption is on a different level. They're not
Yeah.
consuming the same way that you are.
Right.
And even if they are consuming some of the same products, they're in first class on the plane and you're in fucking business and coach. It's completely separate.
And they've extracted so much.
You're spending a lot of money to
own.
get the cancer-causing slurry in your food, whereas they can pay the extra to get all organic.
Yeah, all designer clothes instead of the fast fashion that people model off of their designer pieces.
And for them, who cares if costs increase like 10%? They make 20% more than they did the year before every year.
Yep.
It's incredibly heavily weighted for them.
And like it is something that's talked about from time to time and like brought up in some scholarship and by some especially some of the like newer thought on organizing in this way, but it's not that
no one's actually put that in.
Yeah, no one's put it in, and there's been an active agenda, say, to split labor and consumption. We talked about it back in the day with the antitrust and like in the platform economy.
But not even that. Like even the self-preservation of it all. Like it's hard in the moment of like I need a fucking raise. It's hard to then be like, well, let's try to argue to limit prices, but that might make them want to reduce how much they're going to give us on the raise. Like you can't. It's a hard thing for someone to.
And that's what
do in the moment.
Obviously, don't fault any of these organizers, activists, workers, but it's to the people that are at the higher level of these labor movements, and there is like talk between these they don't exist in vacuums on their own at those higher levels, that it's something that they should be talking more about and bringing to the table, again, not fully as something that is going to get into the next contract, but it is something that needs to be talked about more and more to make it more normal, make it an idea that could seep in at some point, especially as as the momentum keeps going and going with organizing. But the UPS, video games, like these very kind of like discrete end products that you could see, you will be able to clearly see even the pernicious little raises or increases to the consumer. I think is just like an important place to note this point, because it's not it's not as it's more tangential. I'm not tangential, tangible. The prices and like the end product to the consumer.
Don't expect your CEO to take it on the chin.
No, not at all. Exactly. They're not going.
They will
Just find the other spot to
they will
exploit.
offload it anywhere, to continue
Yeah,
extracting.
you're gonna get a increase on your wages. We're just they operate how the U.S. government should to millionaires and taxing them on the back end. Like you get all this money or whatever, or even if we did like UBI and it was not means tested and like billionaires or whatever get the fucking monthly little pennies for them, and you just take it in taxes on the back end. That's what the corporations do to a worker. Okay, we're going to have to give you more money, but the products that you inevitably have to buy from us, whether it's directly from this corporation that you're working for or one of the other corporations in our conglomerate, we're going to catch you on the back end and profits from jacking up the prices on the shit you're consuming.
That's why we need to crush the labor movement. People are making too much money. There's not enough fear of losing your job.
Yeah, we need to be 30% unemployment, like that fucking Megamind CEO.
Keeps the people hungry. Literally.
That dude's forehead is ginormous.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I thought it was photoshopped for the longest time, so it was like, no way. That's a dome.
All right. So there were some other stories that we had lined up, but we are at it for time. So if you want to catch all the stuff that couldn't make it into the pod, folks, check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/campaignComrades. We will be doing our uncut Comrades stream where we talk about all these stories that we couldn't squeeze in. And
circumcisions.
We will be doing we do that on Tuesdays. So it'll be day after this episode releases. We'll be releasing on Monday, October 2nd, right? I think I have that right.
Yeah.
All right,
Day
folks.
Mike becomes a lawyer.
Yeah, hell yeah. Congrats up to him. Let's
certified sicko.
Yes.
Yep. A-Lab.
He's part of the elite now. He's gonna leave us behind.
I get to suck my first blood. Get a little shot of adrenochrome.
All right, folks. But we will see you in the next one. I believe it's Luigi's Mansion is the next thing.
It's Luigi time.
We're starting spooky season off right. We will. That will be out next week. Be on the lookout. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.